Hi, I'm Mr. Franklin, and in this video we're going to be looking at lesson 1.5, which is our lesson on unit conversions. So first, as a review, remember this is underneath your learning intention in your notes, but a chemistry student is trying to determine the boiling point of ethanol. They take the following measurements over several trials: 78.5 degrees Celsius, 77.9 degrees Celsius, 78.9 degrees Celsius, 79.0 degrees Celsius, 78.2 degrees Celsius. So first one, find the average of the results. So go ahead and do that for me. So pause the video and do that and record your answer in the appropriate space in your notes. Okay, once you got that done, the actual boiling point is 78.37. So is this student's data accurate or is it precise? And how do you know? So remember, this was a question a lot of us had while we were taking our quiz last week. And so just remember, accuracy, accurate, we've defined as the average is close to the actual, or the average is close to the accepted value. So is our average from number one close to 78.37? If you think it is, then it would be accurate. If you think it's not, then it's not accurate because it is not close. If it is accurate, it is close to the average. The accurate is close to the average. Is it precise? Precise. Finding a better marker here. Precise. Are the values close together? So are our measurements close together? What do you think? So you can say, yes, this is precise because they are close together. They are within 1 degree of each other, 1.5 degrees of each other, or no, they're off by at least a degree. They should be much closer to each other. What do you think? Our learning intention for this unit is I can convert between commonly used units. So we're going to focus on metric conversion, but we're going to look at, can I convert between grams to kilograms, meters to centimeters? So we're going to focus on metric, but your learning intention for this video is I can convert between commonly used units. Our success criteria. You will be successful in this goal if you can use prefixes to determine whether a unit is larger or smaller than its base unit, and you can convert between base units and other commonly used units. So we're going to learn some prefixes, which you should actually already know, so hopefully it's a review. But if you've not, then we will cover them here. We will also learn how to convert them from one form to another. So unit prefixes. Sometimes we need to measure things that are really big or really small. So standard base units aren't always used. For example, it would be hard to use a meter stick to measure the width of a strand of hair, or how far a bird flies as it migrates from Canada to Mexico. If we only use the meter stick, okay, which is, it's about that big, human-sized, it'd be difficult. Try to take a hair out and measure the width, it would be really difficult to do. So we have prefixes that we put in front of the unit to indicate that it's actually smaller or bigger than the base unit. So for example, we have kilo, milli, like kilometer, millimeter, mega, which you might be more familiar with in terms of megabytes. Where do you think that came from? It comes from this, okay? Nano, we have all kinds of prefixes. So prefixes are all based on multiples of 10. So you just need to know how many times you multiply or divide by 10 to get between one unit to the next. So some of the prefixes. Kilo. Kilo means 1,000. Hecto, which we're not really going to get into, means 100. Deca means 10. Base unit is like in terms of ones, but it's really like a meter. Meter is the base unit, so a meter is a meter. It's about that long. If we have a kilometer, that means we have 1,000 meters. Deci means a tenth. Centi means 100th. And milli means thousandths place. Okay? So we're going to use this little staircase here to help us orient ourselves and actually do conversions here. So the first one we have is kilo, when we're going to memorize it this way. King Henry died by drinking chocolate milk. If you want to learn the rest of it, King Henry died by drinking chocolate milk, missing no pinkies Friday afternoon. If you want to learn the rest of them, you can see my chemistry video on that. But for us, we're going to keep it simple. King Henry died by drinking chocolate milk. Sometimes you will hear me say right here where it says by, you might hear me say while, because there's different ways to say it. But bottom line, for king, we have kilo. For king, we have kilo. Henry, for hecta, died for deca. Base unit is by. Drinking is deci. Chocolate is centi. And milk is for milli. And we're going to put this together in a minute. But each staircase is 10 times, if we start at the bottom here at milli, centi is 10 times bigger than milli. Deci is 10 times bigger than centi. The base unit is 10 times bigger than deci. And then so on up until we get to kilo, which is 10 times bigger than hecta. Okay, so each step is times 10. Or if we go down, if we start at the top and we go down, each step is divided by 10. 10 times smaller. So if we start at kilo, divide by 10, divide by 10, divide by 10, will give us our base unit. Divide by 10, divide by 10, which would give us our centi, and then divide by 10 again would give us our milli. Bottom line is kilo is big. Okay, this is large distances, really big units. Milli is smaller units. If you look on your ruler, those little bitty tiny lines, that's a millimeter. A 1.6 kilometers is the same distance as 1 mile. So kilo is really big. Milli is really, really, really small. So we're going to use this mnemonic, King Henry died by drinking chocolate milk, to memorize this. You're going to want to memorize it. It's going to help you out, and you can use it throughout your entire science career. We can always multiply when going from bigger units to smaller units. We always divide when going from smaller units to bigger units. And I'll explain what we mean by that in just a second. So we're going to multiply if we go down the staircase, okay, and we're going to divide if we go up the staircase. These prefixes and unit conversions are universal, which means they work for all units. So if we're in meters, we can have centimeters. So we start at meters, and we're going down to centimeters, multiply times 10 until we get to here. Because when you go down, you multiply. When you go up, you divide. So down is multiply. You go up, you're going to divide. Okay? But that's meters. We can use grams. We can have centigrams. Okay? Grams to centigrams. This works for either one. Okay? Which is why we like metric, because it makes it easy to work with things and keep things the same in terms of the science without messing with our measurement scale. The process of going from grams to milligrams, meters to millimeters is the same. The units are different because a meter is a meter and a second is a second, and they're not the same thing. But the process of changing one number to another is the same. So kilo is the big 1,000, centi is the small 100, milli is the small 1,000. All right, so bottom line, this is the most important part. So let's convert 155 kilometers to meters. So we have, let's start over here. So we have 155 kilometers, and we're going to convert it to meters. Okay, so kilo, so King Henry died by drinking chocolate milk. We're starting here at kilo, and we're going to go all the way down to the base unit, because meters is the base unit. This is meters. So how many times did we go down? We went down times 10, times 10, times 10. So what's 10 times 10? So let's just write this over here. 10 times 10 times 10. 10 times 10 is 100. Times 10 again is 1,000. So we're going to multiply this number times 1,000. So this is going to be 155,000 meters. So 155 kilometers is equal to 155,000 meters. Okay, so here we go. Here's the animated version. We're going to have to go 3 jumps down times 10. Times 10 is 100. 100 times 10 again is 1,000. So we're going to multiply 155 times 1,000, and we get 155,000 meters. Okay, so let's try another one. Let's go from centimeters to meters. So we got 35.7 centimeters, and we're going to meters. So King Henry died by drinking chocolate milk. We start at centi, and we're going 2 meters. 1, 2, and we're going up, so we're going to divide. So divide by 10, divide by 10. 35.7 divided by 10 is 3.57. So we did one of those. 3.57 divided by 10 is 0.357 meters. So 35.7 centimeters is equal to 0.357 meters. Okay? So here we're going up the staircase. We're dividing by 10 and then dividing by 10 again. So 2 jumps. When you divide by 10 two times in a row, it's like multiplying. So 10 times 10 is 100. So we're actually dividing by 100 is another way to say it. And that's the answer. What's really important to keep in mind, though, is if I measure 35.7 centimeters, or centiliters, sorry, I said centimeters, guess what? Centimeters, centiliters, the numbers will be the same. But if I measure that much distance or that much volume of liquid, and I measure it in centimeters, when I convert it from 35.7 centiliters to 0.35 centiliters, the physical amount I actually have doesn't change. It's just the number I'm using to represent it, okay? Why is this important? Because sometimes we have scales for our mass in class that only use grams, and so we got to measure it in grams. But when we do the physics, we need it to be in kilograms to do the math properly, so we're going to have to convert it. That's why this is important. So now we're going to learn a shortcut. This is my favorite shortcut. So it's really, really simple. So basically, because we're multiplying by 10 or dividing by 10, we're not actually changing the numbers involved. We're changing where the decimal place is. Okay? That's because when you're multiplying by 10, all you're really doing is moving the decimal place. So that's what we're going to do. So here are some explanations of this, but let me just show you real quick. So King Henry died by drinking chocolate milk. So if we go from kilometers to millimeters, if we start here, notice I circle it. How many steps is that? That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 steps. So how many times am I going to move the decimal? I'm going to move it 6 places. But which way am I going to move it? I'm going to move it that way. So 2 kilometers is going to be equal to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Fill in the zeros. So that's 2 million millimeters. Okay, so that's what we're going to do. So if it goes down the staircase, we're actually moving to the right. We're going to move the decimal to the right. But if we start here and we go to the base unit, our meters, which way are we going? We're going 1, 2, up the staircase, but which way did I go? I went to the left, so I'm going to move the decimal to the left. Okay, so we're going to practice this. All right, so let's try this. Convert 6.05 seconds to milliseconds. So, King Henry died by drinking chocolate milk. Write it out every time. Write it out. Don't try to do it in your head. Just write it out. It'll make it easy. And then we're going 6.05 seconds. So where are we starting? Seconds is a base unit. Okay? So we're going 2 milliseconds. So 1, 2, 3. Which way did I go? I went that way to the right. So I'm going to take my decimal and I'm going to go 1, 2, 3 places to the right. And I'm going to fill in any holes. So 6050. So that's 6,050 seconds. So 6.05 seconds, sorry, that's wrong, that's milliseconds. 6.05 seconds is equal to 6,050 milliseconds. Okay? So always draw the diagonal, and this will be really simple. It's a quick sketch. We're going to do it diagonally every time. Okay? And we're going to move the decimal. Okay. So pause the video and try to do the next one on your own. Do the U-Try on your own and see if you, and then check your answer here in just a second. But pause the video and check and try the U-Try on your own. And then when you're done, unpause it and check your answer. Okay, welcome back. So we have King Henry died by drinking chocolate milk. We have 125 liters. So we're here at the base unit. And we're going to kiloliters. So we're going 1, 2, 3. We're going to the left. So I'm going to go, where's the decimal here? If we don't write the decimal is always at the end, right? So we're going to move. 1, 2, 3. So our answer is going to be 0.125 KL. And I personally like to put a 0 in front of my decimals if there's a decimal in front. That way, when I see it, I don't think that that's like a period at the end of a sentence or something like that, that's part of the number. Okay? All right. So, we just did that. So here's another example. Okay, you may have to redraw the diagonal. Please do it. It's one of the reasons why I'm teaching it to you is because it's quick and easy. King Henry died by drinking chocolate milk. Simple, right? Took me 2 seconds to write that. So now we got 4,358.2, 4,358.2. You'll notice I make my decimals extra big so I don't forget about it. But I'm starting at, where are we starting? Centimeters. And where am I going to? Kilometers. So we're going here. Okay? So we're going to go centi. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to the left. So we're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to the left. Remake the decimal, fill in the empty hole, and then I'm also going to put a 0 in front of my decimal so I don't lose sight of it when I'm typing it or writing it by hand. Now, what's really important to remember is, notice, did I change any of the numbers? There's still a 4, still a 3, still a 5, still a 8, still a 2. It's just, this is in centimeters, and this is in kilometers. So if you think about this, 0.04 centimeters is like 4 little lines on the ruler. How much of a kilometer is that? A kilometer is huge. So it's a really, really tiny amount of a kilometer. But this actual measurement is only that big. This actual measurement is the same measurement. It's just this is in centimeters, that one is in kilometers. Okay? All right, one more. Try this one on your own. Kiloseconds to milliseconds. So kiloseconds to milliseconds. Try it on your own. Pause the video and try it. All right, let's take a look. Kilo, actually let's do circles. Kilo, that's where we're starting, right? And we're going to milli. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I went which way? To the right. So I'm going to go take my decimal. I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Make my decimal again and fill in with zeros. Oops, that's already got a number. That's a 5. Fill in with zeros. So 5, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. So 500,000. Does that make sense? What happened to this 0? That 0 is only there just to remind us that there's a decimal there, right? So there's no decimal there anymore, so I got rid of the 0. And now the decimal is way over here, and that's 500,000. And that's in milliseconds. Okay? So our success criteria is we can use prefixes to determine whether a unit is larger or smaller than its base unit, and I can convert between base units and other commonly units. So let's actually check this. So check yourself before you jump into the exit check. Okay? If I have grams, where's grams on here? Grams is here. Is grams bigger or smaller than kilograms? So if I have kilograms, which is bigger? Is grams bigger or kilograms bigger? It's higher up the staircase, so kilograms is bigger. So 1 kilogram is much bigger than 1 gram. Not to be confused with, if I have 1 gram, how many kilograms is that? 1, 2, 3 to the left, 0.001 kilograms. Now what is that saying? That's saying if I have a penny that's 1 gram, I'm not changing the measurement, it's 0.001 kilogram. However, if I have a bowling ball that has a mass of 1 kilogram versus a penny that's 1 gram, which one has a bigger mass? 1 kilogram is a bigger mass. Does that make sense? Okay, and 1 milligram, of course, is going to be way smaller. So you've got to think about that, okay? So are we asking, which thing is bigger than the other one? A kilometer is bigger than a meter, is bigger than a millimeter. A millimeter is smaller than a centimeter. But when we're converting, we're measuring. So if I measure the length of this pencil, I could measure it in centimeters, which would probably be a smart choice. But if I wrote the number in kilometers, does it change the length of the pen? No. It just means we measured with a bigger scale because we might be comparing our pen to what's the distance to my house. Okay? So, you have been given a paper to practice some of these conversions. Please do so. Please show all of your work so that we can spot problems and help you learn how to do this correctly. So that's all I've got. Thank you very much for watching.